First of all, I just want to preface this that excuse the background. I'm like one of those guys now that just gets a razor and like the whole personality is about razor. Yo, it's Gio. Welcome back to my channel. And I kinda did read like 3 horror books that revolve around winter, snow, the cold. Did it bother me? Did the cold bother me? Let's find out. As someone who has lived in like a tropical country my whole life, I've never experienced snow. Don't know her. I've never experienced fall and spring. The only season we have here is summer, and sometimes it rains a lot. So, snow and winter, I'm really fascinated by it, by the season. So, I wasn't really planning on doing like a themed reading horror books that revolve around winter. I wasn't really planning on doing that, but it just happens that I picked up Suffer the Children and then I read Near the Bone before that. Coincidence? I think not. And I was like, why not just make it 3? So I also remembered that Gabby from Gabby Reads has recommended The Winter People. So why not give it a shot though? So as promised, this is gonna be an art video. I illustrated one scene from one of the books here, which is The Suffer the Children. As I said, that might be one of my favorite books. I'm gonna play the time lapse of the whole thing, whole process recorded now, and I'll talk more about each book as you watch the time lapse video, basically. Okay, so the first book that I read is Suffer the Children by Craig DeLuise. So this is about, I don't remember the town. The book revolves around on Christmas Day, okay? So on Christmas Day, all of a sudden, the children starts dying. Gone, rest in peace, boom, dead. Not breathing, okay? As parents, every people are grieving. And this happened on the whole world. So they just basically die. All of a sudden. Obviously, the government is like panicking. Like, what do we do? Is this a sickness? Is this sickness communicable? Is this airborne? And why is the children dying? So they did this mass graves on the vicinity because they want to bury the children, because obviously they might have a disease that might be passed on to adults, right? But then after 3 days, all of the children started coming back. They're just alive all of a sudden. However, they are alive, but for some reason they're not the same. They're just standing there watching you, okay, in a creepy way, okay, in a creepy freaking way. They're just like mannequins. They don't really talk, but they crave something more. They don't eat food, you know. They don't eat mac and cheese. They don't eat chocolates even. They want blood. They want blood. And for some reason, after you give them blood, they come back normal. They're just normal kids. They're just normal kids. Okay, so that's the story of Suffer the Children by Craig DeLuise. Now, let me tell you, this book is so good. It challenges the minds of the characters involved. So in the book, we follow 3 point of views. We follow one from a single mother. We follow one from both parents, the father and the mother, and one is a doctor who has lost his child on an accident. So we follow those 3 characters in the book. As I said, the book tackles around the psychological complexities of these parents. Like, how far are they willing to go for their kids, because their kids want blood to survive. And as a parent, you want your kid to survive. So what you do? What you do with that information, and chaos just ensues from there. So this scene that you're watching right now, this is inspired by one of the scene from the book where the father carries a blood, like the blood donation, carries a blood donation on his hands on his way to his home so that he could feed the blood to his kids. But he accidentally drops the blood on the snow. And what y'all know, kids from the neighborhood, they be running, they be sipping, they be eating the blood. So that's the concept behind this piece. I rated this 5 stars. I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys reading this. This is such a good horror book. Was it gory? There are some parts that are gory, but most of the disturbing parts aren't the one you would think. Most of the disturbing parts aren't like the corpses, aren't the blood, but the things that the parents does just to give their children what they need to survive. And the ending kinda got a little bit cheesy for me, not gonna lie. The ending was a little bit questionable, but overall the ride, the journey we had along the book, A plus, A plus. Okay, I'd probably reread this because it's so good. I've learned a lot about blood for some reason. And fun fact, I'm afraid of needles. When I was a child, okay. I mean not when I was, well, when I was a child and when I was in high school. I remember I was feeling sick, like really, really sick. I've got this really painful stomach ache, and so I had to be on the emergency room, right? And the doctor was like, for me to examine you, we need to take blood from you. And I was like, Doc, no, hell no. Like, what? Can't you just, like, do that thingy, like, inhale, exhale? Can't you just do that instead, Doc? You really want this blood? Really? Are you that thirsty? So he was, like, proposing things because I was like, hell no. And my mom was with me, okay? And this was 4th year high school. I was 16 years old, okay? Just want to clarify that. So it was like proposing, like, if you're afraid to take it from here, we could just do what the kids does, okay? Where they just prick the ring finger like a pen. You just, done. It's done. Okay, you can go on your way. And I was like, I don't like being hurt, okay? Who likes to get hurt? Not me. And I was like debating on whether to go on with it. So went back home, and like my aunt, my uncle who's a nurse was like keep convincing me, like, if you really don't do that, you're probably gonna die. It's probably worse than just like a stomach ache, okay? So I was like, I mean, that doesn't sound bad. Oh gosh, that was so dark. I was like, okay, if like it's good for me, then I'd probably do it. So we went back in the hospital, and I was with my mom, my cousin, and her daughter, which is my niece. And my niece was like really a kid that time. And so my mom, and my niece were in the laboratory. So they were like accompanying me. So, okay, I was like seated now. And my niece was with me, who's a kid, by the way. And as they were about to prick me, I started shouting, bitch. Shouting freaking murder. Like, not just, like, guttural scream. Because, nah, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. So, they were wrestling me. The medical technologists were like wrestling me, and the kid, my niece, was like crying because she was afraid of me. Okay, so I bolted, run out of the laboratory, run out of the hospital even, and I was on the street running, looking back at them, and like the guard was like looking at me like, what did that kid just do? Why did he just bolt it out of this hospital? Okay, and they were like coaxing me like, no, we wouldn't force you. Okay, we wouldn't force you. Come back. Okay, we wouldn't force you. And my cousin, who's by the way a woman, was like, for example, this is my cousin, right? She was proposing that I hug her so I wouldn't see the needle and they would prick me, and I would, no, thank you. To cut the long story short, didn't get my blood taken, but we've already paid for the lab, so they didn't refund us. So that's like the long oh my gosh, I just shared a 10-minute story about my blood getting taken. To cut the long story short, didn't get my blood taken. I don't know what happened. We didn't find out the sickness. Maybe it was just like I just needed to shoot things out. In the bathroom 2 years ago, I was hospitalized for the first time because I had tonsillitis and my platelet count were like so low, so they had to regularly take my blood out to test if this kid was like dying. So yeah, I encountered that. It's not even painful, okay? It's not even painful. So if you're like afraid of needles or something, turned out wasn't that painful. Like, got used to it. Looking forward even when they like, cause it's like a bragging right, like,
I'm a man now, like,
you can take my blood out because I'm a man. I can do it. I can handle it. On to the next book, Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Now this is an action thriller, kind of like No Exit, but maybe something paranormal, maybe not. And I like this book. Okay, so Near the Bone follows this couple. So Maddie, which is the wife, is like living with her abusive husband, and he's not just verbally abusive, he's not just gaslighter, he's also physically abusing her. They are living in this secluded house, and Maddie is prohibited to wander around the vicinity of like the overall property. So she doesn't know, even if she wants to go out, even if she wants to leave the piece of turd of her husband, she can't because she doesn't know where she is, basically. So yeah, she is not living her life. Can you imagine? She's like trying to live day by day with her husband's tempers, her husband's tantrums. For some reason, something is in the woods. Something is killing animals, but not just eating them. This thing doesn't eat animals for some reason. This thing collects the bones of the animals. This thing collects the organs and hearts of the animals. If it's like a bear, it probably would have eaten the animals, right? But not this thing. Is this like an animal? Oh no! And along the way, 3 campers appear on the mountaintop. So Maddie has this predicament. She knows that William will be angry because strangers are in their property, and she doesn't want William to get angry because she knows what angry William will do. So, story just goes from there. And let me tell you, this was a page turner, okay? I just be flipping the page of this book because this book is so addicting, so riveting. The chapters are short and it really tackles about domestic abuse. So trigger warnings for domestic abuse. It really tackles about Maddie's decision on whether to really leave William or will she just stay on this house forever. And it mixes that paranoia alongside with this supposedly creature that's haunting the mountaintop. So this is a good freaking read. It's like action, doesn't miss the mark. It also reads like a freaking movie. I hope they make a movie on this because it's so freaking good, you know? So yeah, that is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. I rated Near the Bone 5 stars. It's so freaking good. And onto the last freaking book, which is kind of an unpopular opinion. Like, I don't know if I just read two of the most fast-paced book, two of the most, might I say, favorite book of mine. But this third book just didn't cut it. It lacked something, okay? It lacked something. It took me a while, honestly, to finish this book. You know, when you're like eating a freaking good food for a week straight and then you taste something else and you're like, but no thank you, I hate that. I don't know if that's just my feelings towards this book, but I don't get the hype. Okay, I rated this 4 stars. This is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. So, where do I begin? I can't explain this book. I went into this blind, okay, and this, I didn't know what was going on. I just got the gist of the overall plot when it was like 20 to 30% part of the book. Let me read the synopsis first, okay? Because even I don't know what the synopsis is. West Hall, Vermont has always been a town of strange.
The most mysterious is that
19-year-old
Alice has
Ruthie
always insisted
lives
that they
in
live
the
off
floorboards
of her mother's bedroom.
as Ruthie gets sucked
into this historical mystery.
Okay. So the premise of The Winter People is in 1908 there's this woman who mysteriously was dead, skinned alive in the field behind her house just months after her daughter's tragic death, and she has this diary, okay? So back to present day, we are with Ruthie, who is in high school, and she lives with her mother and her younger sister, who is, by the way, named Fawn. Sus, okay, sus. I don't know if your like parents are hipsters like that, but naming your kid Fawn, you need to reconsider your life choices, okay? So Ruth is living there and she hates it. She hates the farmhouse, okay? Because her mother insists on leaving off the grid. Internet is bad. Stuff like that. And so Ruthie hates her life until one morning her mother's gone.
Mommy.
They can't find her anywhere. In the farmhouse, in the field. They can't find her. And she finds Sarah Harrison Shea's diary beneath the floorboard of her mother's bedroom. And she discovers that maybe she isn't the only one who's looking for someone. Maybe there's also someone who's looking for someone. Dun dun dun. As I said, this really took me a while to get sucked into the story. Overall, it's a good freaking story. Don't get me wrong. The cold was a lot. I really liked the book. It was creepy. Overall, it was really creepy, horrific. There are disturbing scenes. Like, there was one moment with a hair which I found so freaking creepy. Okay, if the book would have centered around Sarah alone, I would have liked that better. So I did kind of hate the present day storyline, but overall there is mystery. I was shooketh because there's a twist, okay, that caught me off guard. That I didn't expect. I thought I was reading like a horror. Turns out this was more of a thriller. There's like thrilling elements, you know, the mystery thriller elements where there's like a bad guy explaining something, you know, stuff like that. So that kind of threw me off about the book. So I think, yeah, that's The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I rated this 4 stars. Again, pretty disturbing horror book, but it kind of lacked something. So I guess this is it. Did you like the art? Did I do the art justice? Was it creepy? Personally, I'm still not satisfied with the drawing. With the piece, the illustration, I'm still not satisfied. I think it lacks something. I also did 2 versions of this. One is the straight one, and one is the angled one. Which one do you prefer? Because I still am debating which one I like more. Yeah, as I said, I really wasn't satisfied with this piece. I think it really lacks something. It's so empty for me. But please in the comments hype me up. Hype me up in the comments, okay? Tell me my art is good, maybe. But yeah, I'm open for criticisms. I'm open for that. So, which version do you like? Do you like the straight one or do you like the crooked one? Have you read any of these books? If you haven't, what are you doing? Okay, pick it up. Pick this 3 up. Okay, and also, are you afraid of needles? Because I'm not.
I'm a man.
I'm a man now. I'm a man. Okay, give me that needle. Give me that. You know. So yeah, I think this is it. Thanks for watching. Like and comment for engagement. And yeah. Bye.